Hey, we're cooking with gas here on the Jewcast.
Okay, careful using a phrase like that.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries, of a sham.
Tradition!
Oh, shut up, Carl! Shut your goddamn Jew mouth! You people are why there's war in the Middle East!
Gekakken van Jan.
Nebbig.
Ver poepoepoe.
Vermischt.
Verkakt.
Vertut.
Verstonken.
Fartig.
Exactly.
You what Grammy Hall would call a real Jew.
Oh boy.
Hey there!
Triple Chai.
Oh my goodness, episode 54, 3 times 18.
Very exciting.
We are filled with life right now.
I can't believe it. I went to a Jewish wedding this weekend.
Oh my gosh, congrats, mazel tov.
No trafe at this wedding.
No trafe at all.
No.
No seafood.
No, I mean there was seafood, but no shellfish.
Oh, okay.
I was pretty surprised.
Well, all right. Hey, well, that's good. I guess there shouldn't be trafe at a Jewish wedding.
I don't know. Most Jewish weddings I go to, they have the most trafe, like the most shellfish.
I hear you. I was at a bat mitzvah, and they had all the good stuff. They stone crab, shrimp, oysters, everything you're not supposed to eat. But I don't like dietary restrictions, whether on religion or you make them yourself, you know? Talking to vegans, and they're just the worst.
Right? I mean,
vegetarians. Because there's so much good food. Like, enjoy it. Like, that's some of the, like, one of the best things I think we got going in life is able to eat. You know, it's like
before we even ordered, we already sent things back.
Okay, yes. We do that as Jews.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
It's funny. I'm on one of these dumb dating apps, and I guess I have, like, I know the best spot for, and I put pork dumplings because I do know it. And somebody actually wrote me today, and she goes, "Oh, a Jew that eats pork? I like that."
All right.
And I was like, "Okay, well, we'll see."
Yeah. Listen, I've said it for years. I'm a Jew for bacon. And I'm unapologetic about it.
I remember the first time I had bacon, like, when I was a teenager, like 15, 16, and, like, I was like, I'm ordering bacon, and, like, me amongst my friends, it was like kind of like a big deal, just the way I was brought up, that it was so bad and it was so wrong to, like, when I actually did it, it was like me eating bacon for the first time was a bigger deal to me than, like, smoking pot for the first time.
Huh. Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. Well, the Bible doesn't necessarily condemn marijuana.
It does not condemn marijuana, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, the matchmakers out there trying to set us up.
Matchmaker.
Have to touch base with her and see what's going on, if she's had any luck. I haven't really been a fan of anyone she's sent over so far, but I'm incredibly picky.
Right. Well, we'll keep you informed on what's happening there.
Definitely, and not too much going on. Of course, there's anti-Semitism everywhere.
You know, not too much of an uptick in anti-Semitism news this week, but there are 2 Jews running for president of the United States, so that's exciting.
Good.
Like, I'm reading articles, you know, looking up stuff for the podcast. It was like, is it time for America to have a Jewish president? I'm like, well, we have the most odds as that we've ever had.
Okay, 2 people, Bernie Sanders.
And Mike Bloomberg.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more of a Bernie fan, I think. I know, actually.
Yeah.
But I don't I mean, that'd be great to have a Jewish president. Why not?
Right? I think we're ready.
For sure, man.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't have a lot of confidence in.
I would vote for a Jewish president.
Well, I
wonder if a Jew became president, if, like, anti-Semitism would get even crazier.
You think?
Yeah, maybe people would really be pissed off.
It could.
Then it's like, oh, the Jews really are taking over the world. They're the presidents of America.
Well, I mean,
this country, most powerful country.
Well,
in the world.
Bernie has often talked about how he's more of a secular Jew than a religious Jew. He's not as involved in the religious aspect, and I think Bloomberg is similar. I don't know what his religious affiliations are exactly, but I mean,
know it's being rich.
Right, he's got all the he
is one of the Jew that controls the media.
Yes,
he is the anti-Semitic trope. Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so that'd be good if we had a Jewish president.
I feel like, yeah, I think it would be good. I mean, listen, I'm looking forward to there being an adult in the White House. That's all.
Anyone's better than what we got going now.
Yeah. But, you know, the tide is turning. It seems there are some of these groups around the country that feel the same way as we do. You know, they just started an anti-Zionist group at Harvard.
Right. That's where smart people are.
Right. The smartest. So they are taking the, they're trying their best to not let any anti-Semitism blowback kind of hit them about it. You know, they're really trying to be inclusive and very nonviolent and very sort of easygoing about the way that they recruit people that want to be a part of their cause.
That's good. And, of course, they've opened hearts towards the Palestinian people, and I think more people are getting awareness about that, and that's great that these things are popping up on college campuses and people aren't so afraid to kind of speak up against Israel.
Yeah,
and,
I mean their whole thing seems to be it's not just about liberation for the Jewish people; it's liberation for all people.
Yes,
that's where they're one of the main tenets of what they're talking about in that
not
group
just
is.
us Jews, and us Jews should want everyone else to be liberated too, because we know what it's like to be prisoners.
Yeah, so good on for the people at Harvard for starting that anti-Zionist group.
Yeah, good job, Harvard.
Yeah.
I would definitely humble brag that I know people in that anti-Zionist group that go to Harvard. Yeah. Well, this anti-Zionist group is from Harvard. Mainly, well, I was involved with one at Queens Community College. Who cares? There's one at Harvard.
Well, apparently, you can't. They had to start their own thing because it was the Hillel groups around the college were not open to having that type of a meeting within their within their ranks.
They're more pro-Zionism.
Yeah, they weren't going to be anti what they were talking about, but they were like, no, you can't do it. We're not going to sanction it.
Well, hey, that's good. More people's perspective, more people's opinions, more people sticking up for what we think is right is what this world needs.
Yeah.
What about that article you sent me about this woman who says she was...
Oh, yeah. There was an article about a woman that was like Hitler's next-door neighbor.
It's a beautiful day for anti-Semitism. A beautiful day for anti-Semitism. Won't you hate Jews? Won't you hate Jews? Hitler is my neighbor.
I thought that was kind of an interesting article, didn't you think? Like the fact that even before his rise to power, he was kind of a dickish neighbor.
She didn't like him.
He
would never lend her sugar.
Right? I think
he was always so loud with his anti-Jew talk, keeping her up late at night.
I just think that's really funny that usually you always hear about these people that go on these rampages and they talk to the neighbor. Like, I don't know, he was always so quiet, he kept to himself.
I can't believe it. He had this mass genocide. He seemed like such a quiet fella.
But this is it's kind of the opposite of that, though. This woman is saying it was he was not a nice neighbor to live next door to.
Hey, Hitler was a dick. No surprise there. But I love it how this woman's coming out just like, who not my neighbor was? Hitler.
Yeah. All these people.
I used to live next door to Mussolini.
You think you have it bad trying to fight the people on your community board.
Yeah, right? Imagine having Hitler.
Right?
Well, that'd be bad. Well, I'm glad Hitler's not my neighbor. There's a new show on Amazon where they are hunting Nazis.
Oh, really?
And Al Pacino is one of the stars on it, and they're going and they're killing old Nazis. So that's good.
That's exciting.
I'm glad we're killing Nazis on fictional television.
And with such big names attached. Pacino.
Good old Pacino.
All right.
This week's Torah portion, we get the Ten Commandments.
Yeah, we got this is our second to last before we stop doing the Torah portions.
Before we've gone through all the Torah portions.
But these last few, there's a lot of action here. This is like one of the big stories. Ten Commandments.
Ten Commandments is a pretty big story,
right? I mean,
well, first Moses' wife's father comes, right?
Right. Yeah, the father-in-law comes,
and he's like, "Dude, you're doing this shit all wrong. You need to." Appoint a bunch of people to help you. You can't take everybody's grievances.
Right.
It's too hard. And Moses is like, this is a good idea.
Right. So it's been it's 7 weeks since they left Egypt, since the Exodus, since the whole nation of Israel, and they're all there now at the
at Mount Sinai.
At Mount Sinai. And God comes down to say He's going to give them the Torah.
But he's the holy nation, right?
Yeah,
and that he's gonna come and he's gonna speak to everybody,
right? But first he tells Moses, come up here first. We're gonna have a little meeting first, right?
Okay.
He tells the people, he's like, I'm gonna give you the Torah, but first me and Moses have to have a little meeting.
Okay.
So Moses goes up and God gives him the 10 Commandments, which are you have to believe in God, don't worship false idols, don't take the Lord's name in vain, keep the Shabbat, honor your parents. Don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't steal, don't bear false witness.
I don't like how murder and adultery and those are 6. To me, those should be number 1. It should start off. Don't murder, don't steal. It's not believe in God. Don't not worship God.
Well, those
don't
are
take God.
Well, if you read the Torah, as we've gotten to this point, God kills. He has us kill a lot of people before and it's usually people that are not worshiping Him. That's really what it is. From the very beginning, God is like, all right, you're going to worship me and me alone, and you're going to kill anybody that doesn't.
Okay.
So
but
those
God,
are
they come down and God is like, hey, God comes down with Moses and he starts giving them the commandments and the Jews can't handle it. They're like, whoa, Moses, let him tell you and then you tell us because we need to play a game of telephone.
Yeah.
Because this coming straight from God is just a little bit too much.
They have to keep adding stuff to it. Right. No killing. Let's no killing, no murder, no stealing either. How about no stealing?
No stealing because, we already took care of all the things that, about God.
Right.
But I love it. Don't bear false witness. That's good. Don't covet another person's property.
Right.
Don't be jealous of other people's material possessions. That's like, don't be keeping up with the Joneses, like that's kind of like a good thing that I feel like people is a value that people don't really hold on to, that they do covet other people's things. They want to have other people's lives. They, especially with this celebrity driven culture that we have, everybody wants to be famous in some way and have money and have fancy things and nice things and have the better things and the newer iPhone and the new whatever. And
well, it always reminds me, the Ten Commandments thing always reminds me of the old Carlin joke where Carlin talks about how coveting thy neighbor's goods is what drives the fucking economy.
That's true. Yeah, he's right. And a lot of people commit adultery. I think it's wrong. I think it's bad to do that. But I think as we've grown more and more as a culture and society that's more open, it's almost more acceptable. A lot of people now are involved with open relationships.
Right.
There
are some people who are there are some people who only get turned on by cheating on their husband or wife.
It's horrible.
The whole cuckold thing. Please commit adultery in front of me.
Well, yeah, they get turned on when they're watching their wife have sex with somebody else, right?
Right.
I guess could a woman be a cuckold if they watch a man having sex with another woman?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a term for it.
Okay. So now maybe they can get rid of adultery. I think that's a good one. If you make a vow to somebody that you're going to stay with them and be with them forever till death do us part, and you have those understandings, you shouldn't go and cheat. It's a big betrayal. You hear that, ladies? I'll never cheat on you.
Fiercely loyal.
Very loyal guy. So now the Jews have the commandments, Shabbat, the seventh day, the rest, just like, when God created the world and then he rested on the seventh day. And I love it how he really wants to pass that on. He's like, listen, 6 days, seventh day, you rest. I rested, you rest. You do what I do. Only one rest day? Come on. Even God was making the Jews work too hard. At least we got, in the secular world, we have 2 days of rest. They give us Saturday and Sunday. God was just like, you just need Saturday.
You just need the one.
No,
one day of rest should be enough.
I think they should move it to 3.
Well, they're talking about that in some places. I just read a thing that in Colorado they're starting a 4-day school day. They're getting rid of Mondays.
That's so smart. They're so progressive.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get high. You're like, man, we got to only go to school 4 days a week, bro.
Yeah. That's when they start. That's all. In other news, Colorado is now charging quadruple what they used to charge for daycare on Mondays.
So interesting Torah portion. We get the Bible, the 10 Commandments. Next week, things are going to get a little dicey. But I love it how God reveals himself to the Jews. He tells the Jews, you're my people. Like, oh, no shit, God. You just took us out of Egypt. Let my people go. He's like, we get it. But still, like, I love it. He still has to tell the Jews that he wants them, get them all around. I love it that Moses' wife's father, what's his name, Jethro? First of all, I love it that his name's Jethro. That he comes and he wants to tell, Moses, like, hey, I know you're directly in contact with God, but let me tell you how you should rule the people. And Moses is like, maybe that is a good idea.
Well, that's the whole thing about God is, I think we've been talking about this a lot. I feel like God is infallible. Like he's pretty fallible. He doesn't really know what he's doing either to a certain degree. It's to call on one man to do all this stuff is putting a lot of pressure on him, especially a guy that has a stutter or a speech impediment and needs somebody else to do all that.
Speech impediment, but hey, he's who God chose, I like it. They blow the shofar. That's one of the first times, I guess, they blow the shofar.
Yeah.
When he's going, ascending up the mountain, and God has all this thunder and lightning and billows of smoke. It's very, theatrical.
This is the beginning of all the rules. Once we get past these last two portions, the next 40 years of us wandering the desert, every time we do something, God's like, oh, wait a minute. All of the people that the father-in-law says we should, make these priestesses and all the, the lawyers and the judges, they start making a lot of freaking rules. God starts making a lot of freaking rules about how to, treat all of those people and who's allowed in the tabernacle and who's allowed to do the prayers and who's allowed to do
all the tribes and everything.
So
he unites us as a nation and then he divides us as a nation.
Yeah.
You know, that
starts to delegate all these different authorities.
Well,
which I guess kind of makes sense. That's kind of why I guess that may be one of the reasons why when God comes down and starts giving them all of the commandments, that the Jews are like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's, you tell him and we'll
I love it. Jewish telephone.
Yeah. Not so loud.
Gosh, God, you're hurting my ears.
Exactly.
Oh, God, why does he have to tell it to us? We want to hear from Moses.
That's why
Moses with his speech impediment. Maybe they just they're laughing at Moses behind his back. They're like, oh, let's hear you say it, Moses.
It's not until the New Testament that you get the voice of God that comes down, because you can't actually, mortals cannot hear the voice of God, right?
Well, I don't know. This is when here, God, that's kind of what happens. They can't handle it.
Right.
They can't handle hearing God. But God shows himself to them. He's there, and it still ends up, the Jews still are going to be pains in the asses.
Well, that's what we do. I mean, we said that last week. God decided to make us the pains of the asses of the world, to be the moral compass for the world.
I don't understand why. It's just a lot. Why couldn't God just descend when we were at Egypt and just be like, here's the commandments and you guys are free? It really is very dramatic.
Yeah, it is very dramatic and very narcissistic. That's the whole thing.
Believe in me. Don't say my name in vain. But hey, we are the holy nation. We're the kingdom of priests.
What is the voice of God's name?
Morgan Freeman?
No. It was Alan Rickman in
Dogma.
In Dogma.
Well, no, he was an angel. It was Alanis Morissette was God in Dogma.
Right, but she had a being who was his voice.
Oh, okay. Like another angel that spoke for God.
Right, it was an angel that spoke to God, and
this is in the movie Dogma.
No, but it's from the Bible.
That's from the New Testament?
I believe so.
Okay, I'm not as familiar with the new one as the old one. I just like the original. I'm not that into the sequel.
No, sorry. Well, hey, I'm a Jew. Okay,
well, hey, episode 54, a Triple Chi episode.
I command you to listen to our podcast and rate and review it.
Yeah, we want to thank everyone that's reached out, messaged us, people that have rated and reviewed it, everyone that's listening. We wish you all the good things in life with our Triple Chi episode. 3 times 18, baby.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
Oh, check me out on Instagram at Jonathan Randall.
You can follow me on Instagram at BeatnikNudnik. I'm coveting all of your likes right now.
And, of course, you could email us, AmericanJewPodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram at American Jew Podcast. Follow us on Facebook, American Jew Podcast. Have you heard me? We're called American Jew. It's a podcast. I'm Jonathan Randall saying, see ya.
Oh, boy.